Dom Mariani, good to talk to you. And, well, we've got a new solo album to have a chat about. Welcome to Noise11.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me.
This one's arriving after quite a long period, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I did the last one. I think it came out in 2005, I think it was, called Homespun Blues and Greens. After a long period of, I guess, doing the guitar pop thing, people kind of say power pop. I try not to use that word. For me, it's just songs with melody, with guitar. And I guess I got a little bit tired of that genre for a while. So during that first solo album that I did, I felt like I've got to do a solo album, get these songs out, and then went on to do the Majestic Kelp, which was like an instrumental project, which was really only going to be one album, and then ended up being four. And the band did some live stuff, and it became a band pretty much. And then from there, stems things started getting in the way. And then Datura 4, which was the same thing, which was like just going to do an album of hard rock, blues, psychedelic rock. And now it's 6 albums down the track. I guess I needed a kind of break from that stuff. I love that stuff. I really do. My favourite bands like Badfinger, obviously the Beatles and what have you, and the Bee Gees, big influences on me as a songwriter. I loved top 40 radio growing up. But while Datura 4 was going, I'd still be writing these songs. And I thought, well, if I get enough, I'll do another solo album. And that's how this one came about. It's like 20 years after the first one. But, I think in a way it's worked out pretty well, because it's given me a chance to kind of, I guess, not refashion the way I do that, but bring in a lot of other influences. I've always thought that, that style of music, a lot of bands do it, but it kind of lost its soul a bit. And I kind of always thought the good stuff always had a soul to it. And I guess that's what I'm trying to do, is trying to do pop rock, guitar pop with a soulful edge to it, And this album took, 3.5 hours, 3.5 years to finally do. But I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know if I'll ever do another one, but
yeah, I like the way you said things like the stems got in the way, like it was an inconvenience.
Yes and no. I still enjoy playing in that band, and we have a lot of fun, and it's a lot better band than it used to be. It's turned into a very good live band. Well, it always was a good live band, but in a different way. It's probably got a little bit more rock in a way, and we're having a lot of fun with it. I think the great thing about that group is that everyone appreciates it for what it is. It's a great band to play in and play live. We're not sort of deluded that we've got another crack at it type of thing. It's band's good live, and people come to see us play. We've got a little bit of a back catalogue, and we're putting out a couple of new singles here and there. So I think we're doing it the right way, not sort of trying to flog the old nostalgia trip too much.
You use the power pop word in there, but the album does have a lot of jangle pop sounding songs on it. What were the ideas or the recording approaches that you explored? Was that a deliberate direction you were taking this solo record in?
I think it evolved in a way. Like, the songs are what they are. The melodic, there's hooks, and I guess they were going to be of a certain kind of style, but I wanted to flip them on their head a little bit. I brought in a guy by the name of Luke Dux, who played pedal steel on the record, to just relax it a little bit and give it a slightly different flavour in some of the tunes. Some of the tunes are very straight ahead, like power pop. There's 3 or 4 there. But I just wanted to kind of mix it up a little bit, and I feel like it's a mature kind of progression in what I was doing. Not that, what I was doing was sort of bubblegum pop or anything, but yeah, it's always been pretty catchy stuff. I guess that's something I've been pretty good at doing, is writing very catchy tunes with hooks and stuff. So, but I just wanted to make it an album that reflected my age, I guess, in a way, and my progression as a musician and songwriter.
I guess all the ingredients that you're talking about there that have gone into the album sort of culminate on World on Its Head. That's classic you.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, when you look at DM3 and that kind of thing, yeah, that's right down the middle of that.
Did it feel like it was going to be one of those pivotal songs for this record? One of the main songs as you were recording it?
Not really, no. I saw those as kind of touchstones, I guess, on the album. Because I guess some fans would sort of turn around and go, "Oh, you've gone a little bit country," but it's not that country. There's a pedal steel in there which kind of gives it a slightly different flavour. But songs like you say, "World on Its Head." The other one is "Just Can't Wait," "Breaking Point." They are the kind of touchstone, sort of straight ahead, I guess, guitar orientated pop songs that I guess I'm known for.
So it's full of, those irresistible hooks, the phrases that you put together for the different songs. What comes first? What leads the way? Did you come up with the riffs for the songs, or, was there a rhythm that fueled the album first?
All those things. It depends on the song, really. Sometimes I'd be, just mucking around. I'm very much a morning guy when it comes to coming up with ideas, and I'll be mucking around with a little chord progression. I go, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And then I'll start sort of singing some nonsensical words, and all of a sudden the phrase might come. And then from that phrase, I'll start to develop a little storyline with the, what I've got, what I'm trying to kind of sing about in the song. And then there's a song like "Breaking Point," which I wrote the lyrics for on a train or subway train in New York one time. And the kind of premise of the song was running through my head, like the chord progression, but then I was writing these words down on my phone, quickly sort of jotting down the idea of it. And that song is obviously taken a few sort of twists and turns over the final recording. But yeah, so it depends on the song, really, but mostly it's a melody and a riff that starts it off.
Well, you mentioned Badfinger before and the Beatles, and there is definitely the sound of that influence on this record.
Yeah, growing up, the Beatles were the band. I got really sort of into them. Bee Gees, I was big on, sort of early Bee Gees. Just the songwriting was phenomenal, and then Creedence Clearwater Revival was another band that I really got into as a kid. And then as I became a guitarist, getting guitar lessons, and I was discovering blues and your more heavier bands, because that was kind of what everyone was listening to when I was like 15, 16. It was like Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple and bands like that, and that has an influence on me as well. I went and saw Status Quo, and they kind of blew my mind. all those things, they've just been things that I have fond memories of, and as a guy who loves all sorts of music, I've just been sort of turned on to all these different things just through, for example, Led Zeppelin got me into sort of blues, and listening to sort of Muddy Waters and John Lee Hooker and people like that. And then there's the Byrds that, as they progressed, they became more country rock. And from there, I started delving into, people like George Jones and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, I listen to a lot of different stuff, and I'm a big fan of soul music. Yeah. So, but yeah, I guess the Beatles and Badfinger, the Raspberries, that kind of big star thing I got obsessed with that for a while.
The Western Australian music community is such a vibrant, creative community, but it's so diverse. Does that diversity have to do with the fact that I guess you're so isolated over there, so everybody's listening to everything else that's happening around the world instead of listening to each other?
Speaking from, for myself, that, yeah, like we're getting the stuff coming in from over east, I guess, back in the sort of 70s and 80s, we're watching Countdown and all that kind of thing. And then you go into the record shops and, the guy across the counter says, oh, hey, I think you'll dig this record, buy this. And as you would know, back in the 80s, there was a strong sort of music press scene, like your NMEs and your melody makers in the Australian stuff like Ram and Duke. So, you'd buy those and flick through the pages and discover new bands. So, yeah, I think it's a hard one to answer. I'm not sure how the diversity's come about, but there's been some good bands that have come from here. Obviously the punk movement that came about through the Victims and the Scientists and those guys. There's some good bands spawned from that, which I like those bands.
Are there plans to take these songs off the turntable and put them on the stage?
Yeah, look, next year I'm doing some shows here in March, and then I'm heading to Europe in April. And beyond that, I haven't really thought too far ahead. I'd like to bring it over east. I'm doing a band thing as well as some solo stuff. So we'll see how it goes. First half of the year next year, going to be interesting. And that's what I'm concentrating on pretty much, is this album, promoting this album.
So what would you solo live look like? Do you take the entire career, stems and all, and put it into one set list?
Yeah, look, I'll be doing my songs predominantly from the new record, but yeah, I will be, putting in some songs from all those bands, picking a few from, say, DM3 or Someloves, and maybe the odd stem song, even Datura 4 if it works, so there's a fairly vast set list to choose from there. So I've got to just try them out and see which ones I feel comfortable with.
But Stems passed the 40th anniversary a couple of years ago, didn't it?
Yeah.
So what is the future for that band?
Well, yeah, that's had I guess a new lease of life in a way. We came back and with a new single, then we did another one. We toured again in April. So the plan is to record some more material and release a new album. So that's going now. We've sort of been mucking around with a few demos, and we go in, I think, sometime at the end of November to record 3 new tracks and working towards an album, a full album of material. And we'll come out and tour again. We'll do a short tour next year. We're going to Europe in July, so it's been locked away. A couple of festivals there. So yeah, that band continues to sort of do a few things. It's good fun. Like I was saying before, we're all in the same boat. We're all kind of got other things going on in our lives, but we really do enjoy coming together and playing as a band. It's a really good band to play with.
What about the Someloves? Any plans to take that one out of my balls?
No, I don't think so, that one. Yeah, I'd speak to Daryl quite often, actually. Yeah, there's never really been talk of a live band, so there've been a few people that have approached me to do that, but yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's been a long career. When you look back at all the things that you did, what's your most proudest moment of all the music that you've produced?
Various parts of each band, really. The way I kind of been doing it is I need to keep moving with my music in a way that I didn't want to get stuck in one kind of thing and just keep doing the same style. So I felt like, the Someloves and DM3 and the Stems was part of a journey, and DM3 and then that solo album that came out after DM3 folded was kind of like, yeah, I think I've done what I wanted to do there. I've written some good songs. I want to do something different. And then the Majestic Kelp, the instrumental idea came about. So I'm a big fan of that stuff. As a young guy, first learning guitar, I learned the Shadows things and the Ventures. I kind of cottoned onto them. So that band ended up sort of doing 4 albums, and I'm very proud of the last 2 records that we did. For what that band was trying to do, or that project was trying to do, I think the work I did on those 2 records, which was High Seas and Turn Up the Sun, I'm quite proud of those two records. And then Datura 4, same thing. It was sort of started as a sort of part-time band, and now we've done 6 records, and there's some good moments in that as well. So I just want to keep recording and writing. I can't really sort of say that was my highlight. There's little highlights along the way.
What about passing the genes on to the next generation? That must be very proud.
Yeah, look, my son, he's not playing live music anymore, but he's definitely into music big time. He loves it. And Dion, my nephew, he's out there playing and doing good things. So yeah, it was one of those things. I think they saw me playing and saw guitars lying around, and they immediately sort of gravitated to it, and and it went from there. Yeah.
Well, you got to take them over to America at one point, South by Southwest, 2006.
Yeah, that was fun. The flares, yeah. Well, I look back on that, and yeah, it was a bit of a strange little moment, really. These little kids were in this band, and the manager, Phil Stevens, I don't know if you know Phil. He also manages the Waifs, and John Barlow was able to kind of get these guys on South by Southwest and all these other gigs, and we were like, the chaperones, being the parents. So we enjoyed the little ride that it went on for a while.
Yeah, because Texas has a funny law about underage and drinking, and of course the drinking age being 21, they must have been limited to where they could play.
Yeah, so what was it? The barbecue, it was the Aussie barbecue or whatever it was that
Yeah.
they played, and a couple of other things. Yeah, look, we didn't come across any hassle or anything like that. So obviously they would have to get into bed early.
Yeah. Well, it's great to see we've got a solo from you after all these years. Apple of Life is the name of the new album. It's up there to listen to now. And Dom, great to catch up with you again here at Noise 11.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Thank you.